And welcome to Impact 2025, our continuing conversation where we talk about all different types of topics from current events, from race, religion, everything that you can think of. This is the opportunity that you have to have a conversation and a safe conversation in a safe place about different types of topics. We always don't have the open space to be able to talk and communicate with one another and feel safe and free to say the things that we want to say. This is that place. And you do that by typing in your questions and your comments into the comment section. Make sure that if you have anything that you want to say, a question, a comment, if you agree, disagree, go ahead and put it in the comment section so that it can be added to the conversation. It's no good just to listen to one side or listen to me speak or just if you got a burning desire to say something, say it. Let it be known. That's what we do here. Also, before we get started, I'd like to remind people of the different offerings that we have here at Amani Christian Ministries on Tuesdays. That's today at 7 o'clock. What we have is a time of prayer from 7 to 7:45. So before you get here, you have the opportunity to pray. Please join us. It's the people in the ministry who are all praying, not from 7 to 7:45, but all praying sometime during that particular time. So pray with us. Bring your concerns and your prayers, and go ahead and pray with us from 7 to 7:45. Now on Thursdays, we have Thursday Thirst. That's our weekly Bible study. This is a great time to sit back and be able to listen to a Bible study, listen to the Word of God, and kind of get deeper into the Bible. We all need to continuously do that. And then on Sundays at 10, we have worship service. And that is, self-explanatory, but you can do that online, Facebook and YouTube, like you can do all the other offerings, or you can do it in person at the address that is on the screen. So please feel free to join us there as well. And then, of course, on Tuesdays at 8, we have Impact 2025. And so, as always, we're going to get right into it. There's a lot of stuff, as I find myself saying all the time, there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's a lot of different things that we can talk about. But one of the most striking things that I've seen in a long time was confirmed yesterday, depending on when you heard it. And this is not an April Fool's joke. But this was done by some April Fools, as I feel. As you know, as you very well may know, there were some people who were considered to be a part of a gang here in the United States. These people were, we'll go ahead and call them what they call them, illegal immigrants into the United States. Or that's how they classified these people. They rounded them up and against a judge's orders, the U.S. government, ICE, the Immigration Services, sent them to one of the most notorious prisons with a number of human rights violations. A very harsh prison where they take gangs. It's El Salvadorian prison, and they sent people over there. Now the uproar was going on because they were just rounding up immigrants. And you're like, well, one, how did they know where they were? Well, many of these people were checking in with their immigration officers or their immigration persons. They had trials and they had, not trials, but hearings and other events where they were checking in and making sure that they were doing the things that they were supposed to do. Some of these people were seeking asylum. Some of these people were just seeking to see if they could get asylum. Some of these people were seeking to see whether or not they could be put on the path towards citizenship at different degrees. And some people were just here and they kind of knew where they were. And what was done this was done rushed and hastily by our government. And it was done in a manner of where they rounded up people and they considered, or they said that all of them were gang members and put them on a plane, deport them, rushed them off. This was an act which was considered and is an illegal act. There was, for most of the people who were involved, no due process. So whether you are a U.S. citizen or you are somebody who just comes here and you do not have the proper paperwork to be a citizen, you still have the same rights. And so we can't just accuse you of things and toss you in jail and put you away. You still have basic human rights. And here in the United States, you have rights. You're just not accused of things and convicted of things. You have the right of due process, as they say. But what we found out today, and this kind of a long intro into what we're doing, what we found out today is that some of the people who were sent away weren't supposed to be sent away. They were accused of being gang members because they had tattoos. And these tattoos were different tattoos, some tattoos that had rainbows on them, or tattoos of a crown, tattoos of their favorite, that supported their favorite soccer team, or tattoos with just regular old messages, but not gang related in any kind of form or fashion. But these people were rounded up, considered to be in a gang because of their tattoos, saying they had gang tattoos, and they were sent away. Some of these people had criminal records. They've gotten into some crimes, drug charges, or some simple charges. Some of them had some significant ones, and some had none. But all these people were rounded up and sent away. And what was found out, as I was saying, what was found out today was some of these people were not a part of the gang. Some of these people were not even here illegally. They weren't citizens, but they were granted asylum. And so what was done was that their legal status was revoked immediately, and then they were able to be deported and sent away. One such gentleman, I'm going to hold his name because it's not a news show. One such gentleman was here, and he left El Salvador. He left Venezuela because he was trying to escape the gangs who were torturing him and threatening to kill him. And so he made his way to the United States, and he sought asylum here in the United States. Initially, his asylum claim was denied, but then his asylum claim came up again, and they allowed him to stay. And they allowed him to have a legal status. He had just checked in with his immigration's personnel in January. And they decided to round him up because he did have a tattoo. And so they decided to round him up. He has no criminal record. And they said, you're just one of these criminals and we're going to send you away. He wasn't even supposed to be sent away. He was actually there rounded up, and they put him on a list and called him an alternative. And so as other people were taken off of the list because they realized, oh, well, you know what, we made a mistake. This person isn't who we thought he was, and this person wasn't who we thought he was. They just bumped him up the list, and eventually he was put on the plane and sent away. His wife recognized him from the photos and complained and said, hey, he's not one of these gang members. He has a 5-year-old son that's here. He works a regular job and was sent away. Now, the horrible part about this was he came here to seek asylum from those gangs, and now he's going to one of the prisons with the gangs. And to add insult to it was that the government today said that, yes, this gentleman was accidentally sent away, but he's already gone and we can't get him back. And so now you sent this guy to possibly be tortured and killed. Some people call it spilled milk. Some people call it collateral damage. But that's the story of where we are. What could that possibly have to do with anything that has to do with Impact 2025? Well, it is now to the point of, and it's always been here, but it's now to the point of where people are in your face that are being harmed, that are possibly being killed. And there's still folk walking around talking about, politics is always just politics, or you shouldn't get too involved, or you can't. It's now to the time where I think that action is not, action is now demanded. And this is something where now as Christians, as we really have to talk about, we really have to discuss. And it really has to come to a decision of, no, can't be lukewarm, you have to be hot or cold. and you have to be a Christian or you're not. And these are your neighbors. These are people, neighbors because they come from a neighboring country, but neighbors because they're actually living in our communities and they're being taken away and sent to die. And so now I think there's a seriousness about the situation of you can no longer just support the actions that are going on. I don't care if you like tax cuts or whatever. You cannot support this government. You cannot support this administration. You cannot support this president. You cannot support anybody who supports the ideas of trying to get these things done that they're doing and call yourself a Christian. I don't think that I think we're past that point now. Because when somebody is going away to get tortured and die, when somebody came to the United States to ask for help, to ask to get away, and instead of helping them or not even turning them away, what you did was you took them and turned them right over to the people who they were trying to get away from. That's beyond. That's beyond you're not even treating your neighbor as yourself. You're treating your neighbor, you're treating somebody who asked for help as an enemy. That's just wrong. And no other way to say it. And so you can either be aligned with wrong or you cannot. There is no excuse now. You can't separate, because I hear people all the time say, well, I don't agree with everything, or, I'm a one position person. And so the one thing that I want is all I want, and all I care about, and all the rest of that stuff I don't agree with. Yeah, but you are responsible. If you're somebody who supports, if you're somebody who voted, you are responsible for the things that happen, whether you agree with all of them or not. You can't separate it out. It is the issue of the wife or the husband who has a spouse who is a drug dealer. You sit there and be like, well, I love my spouse. They're great. They're great to our kids. They take me out, blah, 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 blah. But you can't separate from the fact that they are a drug dealer and they're committing crimes. You are connected. You are in with that. You are agreeing to that. You can't say, I only like the good parts of my spouse, but I don't like the bad. What they do and what you've signed up for, you are a part of. And that's where we are now. And so if you've signed up for this, of treating our neighbors so bad, or treating people so bad, or sending people to die for no reason, then you're not signing up to be somebody who's following the word of God. Like, we can't do both. Comment. This administration has deemed this mistake as collateral damage. The reality is these persons have no value. That's exactly what it is. At the end of the day, they don't care anything about people. And people are making excuses for why you don't need to care about other people. People are collateral damage, but it's not, and it's going to sound horrible, but I can say it like this. You could come to me and say it was a mistake of, if somebody got instantly killed when something was going on. You were trying to cut down a tree, somebody was standing around and got hit by the tree. That was a mistake. But this is an intentional, I'm going to break the law to round these people up, hurry up and ship these people off. Not even really give them any kind of due process, get them out of here. A judge says, don't do it, and I did it anyway. Then I find out that I sent somebody incorrectly, and I'm not even going to try to get them back. Because there is no scenario where I'm going to believe that you can send people off, but you can't get them back. You're supposed to be the United States, and you're going to tell me, well, you can get a plane, you can send them to this prison, but you can't say, my fault, this person wasn't supposed to be sent, I need them back. We messed that up. This is beyond any kind of situation where you can say, oops, this was a mistake. This is intentional because of how you feel about people and how you disrespect people and how you think somehow that people who have eyes, ears, nose, mouth, skin, hair, just all the same body parts that you have, for some reason you think that they're less than you. I tell you, one of the worst parts of the whole thing is that these people are Hispanic, that they're sending off. And the person who is in charge of the State Department, the person who is deciding to be over revoking their status of being able to be here. Because many of these people, again, they're legally allowed to be here because they did the stuff. They've done the process the correct way. They may not be citizens, but they presented themselves and they did what they were supposed to do the correct way. Going to the courts, checking in, they're not hiding. They are asking for the ability to become citizens, or they're asking for asylum, or they're asking for legal status, or can they be residents? They weren't given an option to say, all right, look, your status has been changed. We're going to need you to leave. Pack your stuff up and leave. Wasn't that? We're going to round you up, and then while you're rounded up, I'm going to change your legal status so I can treat you poorly first by putting you in one of these detention camps and making you sleep on the floor with an aluminum blanket, and then ship you off to a place that you don't want to go. The person who was doing that is Hispanic. The person who is in charge is Marco Rubio, is supposed to be Hispanic. And he wants to treat people who have some of the same blood pumping through the veins that he has. He wants to treat them poorly. He wants to treat them evil because he's trying to impress other folk who want that to happen. As a Christian, you cannot separate politics from your faith. That's the problem. Some want to be viewed as Christian, but they don't practice their faith as a lifestyle. Is there a time to be a Christian and a time to be a citizen? And that is the thing. It has. You can't be a part-time. And I think I don't know where we came up with this, or where people came up with this. Where it's a I need to be a citizen of the world or a citizen of the United States and a Christian, No, you got to be a Christian, I think, and then everything else second. You got to choose. You got to follow one or the other. You're either following the Bible or you're following the Constitution, but both of those things, they don't match. But here's the crazy part. These people aren't following the Constitution or following the Bible. They're definitely not following the Bible and how we're supposed to treat one another. But they're not following the Constitution because they're breaking laws in order to treat people bad. And so it's a double-edged sword. But I think now it's come to the time of where we can't, and we talked about it here, not only not being silent, we can't allow those conversations to go unhacked. At this point now, if you don't know the story about what's happening to these people who were sent to El Salvador, who were sent to the El Salvadorian prison, if you don't know what's happening to Venezuelan immigrants, you need to know. And if you do know, and you find somebody who doesn't know, then you need to talk about it. Because as long as we continue to let stuff just slide in the news cycle, go ahead and think about the next thing. We don't really talk about what's going on. Then things will continue to happen. Now, as bad as it is what happened to this man and his family, and as bad as what's happened to other people who have been sent away, the silver lining, and it's only for us, not them, but the silver lining for us is that it has brought attention, and some people are starting to wake up and realize, hey, these folk who are running the government, these folk that are in charge right now are evil. It's not even a situation. I don't disagree, or we disagree, or we they have a different way of doing things. They are evil when it comes to I'm sending people away to be tortured and killed. There is no rush to, you already done put folk in camps. There is no rush to try to just get them out of the country and send them to a prison that has human rights violations all over the place. The only way you want to do something like that is because you want to hurt people. And the only reason that you want to just hurt people and you don't really care who they are is because you have then turned over yourself to your evil desires, your human desires of revenge and rage and stuff like that towards people who you don't even care whether or not they're guilty or not. You don't care what their situation is. As Christians, we need to hold each other accountable. Choose you this day who you will serve. Maybe some churches and ministries need to rethink their membership policies. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that there needs to be just like this sentence, I think there needs to be more focus on holding each other accountable. It's a tough one because you know that you need to be in relationship with people who think differently from you. The only way that you'll be able to change hearts and minds is by being, in proximity to them. But at the same time, you can't sit back and enable that behavior and act like that behavior is okay. You can't normalize their activities and how they're acting. And so it's a balance. I think that most people aren't really ready for, but we need to get ready for. It is, we can be in the same room, but don't think that the stuff that you do is okay. And I'm not going to let you think that I think that the stuff that you do is okay. Remind you that it's not okay. Anytime we communicate about it, I can tell you that it's not okay. But at no time am I just going to sit back and just be like, well, that's what he's doing. And that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. We sitting around, we hanging out, we playing cards, and you say something like, man, see how the immigrants, blah, 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 blah. And then I have to tell you, hey, that's not how you're supposed to treat your neighbor. That is not showing love to other mankind. And it's you're the party pooper. You're the person that kills the vibe. Oh, there you go again. Trying to make sure we all do the right thing. Yeah. But I think it's as Christians, we do need to hold one another accountable. And it's so important. For me, I think it's so important. And I realize it now as I talk to more kids, as I talk to my son and his friends and the neighborhood kids and other kids we come across. It's so important that we correct people when they talk about Christianity and they talk about the faith, because they get the bad information so often. You would really sit back here and think that, the president and his followers really represent Christianity. And, I'll say the nicest way I can say it is, that's not the Christianity that I know. That's not the Christianity that's in the Bible. So whatever they represent or they say they represent, that's on them. But don't think for a moment that is the Christianity that's in the Bible. That's the Christianity, that the Christians that I've met represent. And so I think it's so important nowadays because people are getting a bad impression. And again, if I didn't know anything about Christ, if I didn't know anything about the church, if I didn't know anything about God, and I saw how these people, and we'll just be plain, how the Republicans, how the Trump supporters act, who swear that they're Christians, I wouldn't want anything to do with the faith. I would not want anything to do with it at all. And so if that's how I would think, and I'm a Christian, then what do you think somebody else would think? And so it's our responsibility to correct, to make sure that people don't get that wrong impression, and especially the young kids, because young kids are seeing things and they're getting the wrong impression. And we have to hold each other accountable, as the communist said. And we have to make sure that we constantly say that this is not the Bible. All right, that's it. That was more of a rant. I had to get that off my chest. Sorry if that seemed like it was just angry man talking, but I think that we're past that time. It's really bad, and it's always been bad. But now, now you kind of see it a little bit more. And this is beyond ridiculous. You're sending people to get tortured and to die. And then when you admit that it happened, you're just like, it's nothing I can do. And that is not okay at all. April Fool's Day is when we're supposed to be playing jokes, not when we're supposed to, as a country, just look like the fool. And we look like that today, and we've looked like that for a long time, all of this year, basically. And we need to stop it. Got to stop hurting people. All right. Well, that's it. Unless there's another comment, that's it. That's it. We got to hold each other accountable. We got to make sure that we represent the faith the right way, and that all of this mess that other people are saying about us, all of this other mess that people are trying to represent us, that is not us. And we have to make sure clearly it's known that that is them and not us. That is not the faith. That is not Christ's teaching. That is not the Bible. I don't know what that is, but that is not Christianity. Oh. As a church, would you allow someone to sell drugs in the parking lot before and after service? Maybe those who sell their bodies can approach persons at the church. We got to hold each other accountable to the word of God. Yeah, we do. We do. We've got to. I think we have to. We have to. We have to. We have to. It's just what we have to do. We got to start holding each other accountable. All right. Well, that is our topic for today. I want to remind people again of our offerings. Our Tuesday prayer at 7 o'clock. Our Thursday Bible study at 7 as well. Facebook and YouTube, both of those. Our 10 o'clock worship service on Sundays. Facebook, YouTube, and in person. And then, of course, Impact 2025 at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. Thank you for joining me. Please feel free to join me again. And please feel free to join any of the other offerings, especially service, especially Thursday, our Bible study, especially prayer as well. Thank you and have a good one.